Tried
So what
mushrooms.
did methamphetamines give you?
So it took all my problems away, man. Like it was something that I could use, and instantly, like meth came along to me at a time in my life when everything had been so good. Like I just finished university, I got a great job, I had a new car, I had a partner and 4 kids, and then it
Mm,
all got taken away, man. Yeah, I was suicidal, man. I didn't really want to live, and I found that if I used enough, that I didn't think about any of that stuff anymore. I wasn't depressed for the
yeah,
period of time that I was high. I honestly believe that that time changed my brain chemistry. Like everything had been taken away from me, man. Like I had a great career. I was just starting my career in nursing. I'd been maybe 2 years, which I worked my ring out for. Man, I went to university at 27 with 3 kids and worked full
yeah.
time and got my degree. And then, like, I've gone through all this really, really like tough time, and everything's just gotten good. And then that all fucking blew up. Like it just all blew
Mm.
up.
Hi, this is James. Welcome to Slaying Sober, where we tell stories of addiction, recovery, and hope. Wherever you are in your sober journey, know that you do not stand alone. Welcome back to Slaying Sober. Today's guest is Warren. When he arrived in Melbourne 12 months ago, Warren had no phone, no wallet, and had to borrow a pair of shoes off his drug dealer. He arrived at his brother's house and handed over control of his finances, deleted his social media, and started doing the suggested things, going to meetings, finding structure, getting connection, and being honest. Warren first picked up meth in his late 20s after he broke his back. He did this to cope with the pain, but it eventually turned into years of chaos. Today's story is about Warren's addiction, his criminality, homelessness, 4 months in jail, and most importantly, how he's turned his life around over the last 12 months. The conversation is about rebuilding, and it shows that it's never too late to change and that things can get better. Enjoy this conversation with Warren. G'day, Warren. Thanks a heap for joining us on Slaying Sober.
G'day, James. How are you? Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, I'm really well, mate. Lovely to connect.
Yeah, same. It's been a real pleasure listening to your other podcasts, and to be given an opportunity to tell my story. Hopefully be able to help somebody else. Like I've said for ages. That if everything that I've been through can help somebody else, then maybe it's all happened for a reason. It's not just random chaos and terror. So yeah,
Yeah, look, every everything that happens, yeah, I reckon it does happen for a reason, and
yeah,
we're here today to tell your story.
yeah, cool.
So tell me about initially, whereabouts are you located, and tell me about your domestic situation.
So now I'm living in Pakenham. I come down here
Yeah, nice.
last year to get clean, so it was sort of this was my second geographical. So I sort of I live with my brother and his wife, and in a
So
spare room.
you came down to Melbourne to get clean. Where did you
Yes,
come from?
from Townsville, far north Queensland.
So what were you running away from up there?
Drug debts and oh look, I'd sort of burn a lot of bridges, man. Some of them on
Yeah.
purpose, some of them was just I just didn't have anybody up there that wasn't in the scene, Like
Mm.
like all of the friends that I had that weren't drug addicts, I'd pushed away, like I didn't have, and like I said, I every time I try and get clean up there, I'd get a period of time up, and then I'd run into somebody, or and I'd relapse. So I grew up. My old man was in the military growing up, so we moved every 2 years. So Townsville's probably where a place I'd call home because I've lived there more than anywhere else. But
Yeah.
I've lived in every state except for Tassie, so I moved every 2 years growing up. Yeah, yeah, a pretty.
Were you always running away from things?
No, not really. Like it's sort of um, like all this stuff didn't really come along to me until I was quite a bit older. Like I didn't start doing hard drugs till I was 30. Like with any
Yeah.
regularity, I'd been able to dabble and stuff and put it down. Like I worked in nightclubs for 7 years as a bouncer and was able to drink and do party drugs and just put them down. Like I'd pick them up, use them for a period of time, and then put them down, and it was not a problem. Like even smoking, like every time I've given up drugs, I give up the cigarettes. And, and,
Mm.
and I've got my same clean date is the last time I used drugs is the last time I smoked a cigarette. So
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
yeah, it was sort of it wasn't until I was 29, almost turning 30, that I sort of a series of events occurred that sort of what I call my perfect storm. So
So before we get to that perfect storm, you've just celebrated 1 year of sobriety, I'm led to believe.
yeah, yep, certainly did. Fourth of January, mate, was my 1 year, and yeah, it was like something I was.
Congratulations, brother.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's something I'm really, really proud of. Like it's I've heard people say, oh, you shouldn't have to be proud of not doing drugs, but they're not people that understand the lure, I guess, that it still has. Even at 13 months off drugs, man, I still have nights where I dream about using. I still have
Yeah.
times I mean, thankfully now, through doing some step work and a heap of therapy, man, it's not my first go-to thought
Mm.
anymore, man. Thank goodness, man. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you indicated there before that this isn't your first rodeo. It's not your first
No,
attempt at recovery.
no. No, I've probably been trying to get recovery for
Talk.
about 7 years now.
Yeah.
Like I think the first time I sort of everything had gotten to had come to a head. I broke up with my partner at the time. I was homeless. I was sleeping in my car, and
Mm.
I'd had enough, man. Like I didn't really want to live anymore, and I kind of went to my parents' house, who were not talking to me at this stage, and I begged for help, and they put me on a plane to a small country town in New South Wales called Glenedis, where my dad grew up. My uncle's got a farm there, and I mean, my uncle's 72. He's a single man. He's got this farm. It's not a working farm. It's a small, like, hobby farm. And I went there, and I did. I stayed clean for 6 months, but only because
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any tree. Like I was living on a farm, 10 k's out of town. I could only get into
Yeah.
town when I'd go with him, and um, like I was so fucking deeply depressed while I was there. Like I was off. I wasn't using drugs, and that was where I was
Mm.
introduced to Narcotics Anonymous. And
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it was just like this town. Your average age would be like 70. It's all there's
Yes.
like a lot of farming towns. It's all there's no young people there. I did a bit of church and I did NA, but I wasn't looking for work. This was when COVID was at its peak.
Yes.
I was living with my uncle, who I don't particularly know very well. Who in a year of living together, the conversation never got superficial. We spoke about football, COVID, and what was on the news, and that was about it. Like I couldn't tell you what his favourite colour was or anything about him.
Yeah.
And then like he was really good to me. And the second I got a car, the second I got transportation, I saw drugs, man. I drove to the next town over and I saw drugs, and then I sort of chipped for a little while. I sort of managed to use just a little bit, and then yeah, as it, it just gradually increased and increased, and then I end up moving in with a drug dealer in the next town over, and yeah, just got involved in crime and um, facilitating drug transportation and stuff like that. Like I was driving these people down to Sydney to buy drugs.
Yeah.
I used to say I wasn't part of it, but had we been arrested, we would have all been going to jail.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was probably the period of time that was my use was its heaviest.
Yes.
And I think it was largely because I was away from my family. I'd been introduced to NA, but I didn't do any of the work. I just went straight to step 9 and started trying to make amends to people without really
Mm.
understanding what any of it was about. So I just, and
Yes.
as you can imagine, that's not. There's a reason you do things in order. I understand that now, but I thought I could just ring up
Mm.
people and say sorry or offer to pay them the money that I owed them, and all would be forgiven. And it was not, man. It was things blew up in my face, and it was
I can
my
imagine.
my car ended up getting stolen. I had COVID. I was ended up homeless, this is in the New England area of New South Wales, and it was really fucking cold. And I'm sleeping in a park,
Yeah.
and I would get paid, and I'd be like, I'll go to like a shelter or something, and I'd spend all my money on drugs, and then sleep at people's houses until the drugs had run out, and then I'd be, and I did this for a period of time until that got so bad that I started bringing rehabs, and then I got accepted into a
Wow.
rehab back in my hometown, and which is in Townsville, and I spent. Nobody was talking to me. Everybody hated me. So I spent 28 hours on public transport to get to rehab, and it was like I got 28 hours on buses and trains is not fucking very enjoyable.
Oh,
And got
no,
back at
particularly when you're on the way to rehab, coming down, all the rest of it.
yeah. Look, I was still using for that, and then I got back and I'd left town originally because I'd had this breakup with my ex, and then I got back and she was single at this stage, so we shacked up for 2 weeks before I went to rehab, which was a terrible
Yep.
idea. I come so close to
Mm.
not going because, this is the woman that I loved. Like we have kids together, and
Yeah.
I thought I keep having this. I kept going back to her, and rehab was what made me realize that I'm worth more than that. Like I went to the same rehab
Yeah.
2 times, and I'm still in contact with that rehab. When I went back to Townsville last month, I went and seen them, and I have so much to thank them for. They accepted me twice, and both times I came in, you were supposed to self detox, and like I didn't self detox. I came in there lit up like a
Mm.
Christmas tree, mate, and they still took me,
Yeah.
and they still were really, in that it was 2-3 months since I had it rehab, and like those were what I got my life back together. The first time I think I had 10 teeth pulled out while I was in rehab the first time because my teeth were a mess from drug abuse and all the stuff that
Yep.
goes with fighting and all the other stuff. Um,
Yeah.
I come out of that first rehab, and I got into a relationship with an alcoholic. Like it was
Yeah.
like I was doing all the right things except for that. Well, I felt like except for that, like I was getting involved in Narcotics Anonymous. I'd got a service position at my home group there, but I
So
stayed at
this
mum
is
and dad.
all up in Townsville.
This is all up in Townsville, yeah.
Yeah. So I can see why you wanted to get away from there.
Yeah. So, when I got out of
What's
that first,
Townsville like?
um, look, it's a beautiful
Is there a
city,
lot
man.
of
Look,
use up there?
yeah, there's heaps, man. It's like I've travelled a lot of Australia, and drugs are everywhere, man. Like if you want to use,
Yeah.
like I said, when I moved to that little town, man, this is a town of 5,000 people, a farming town, man, and the next town over is another small town, 16,000 people. The only business there is an abattoir, and I've never been somewhere that's
Yes.
so drug saturated in my life, man. Like everybody uses.
Yeah.
The town's all it's a beautiful place, man, but it's yeah, it's got Australia's biggest army barracks there, so it's a young guy. You got there's not a lot of girls, and there's a lot of blokes, and there's a lot of
Yes.
macho. A lot of stuff goes on in Townsville, man. Like there's it's not a huge place, man. I think it's 250,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's got a really pretty small drug scene, man. Like the same few people just go around and around. one will go to jail, and one will come out, and it'll just be, like it was never ever a problem to get drugs, man, except for COVID. When COVID hit, things got a bit difficult. Yeah.
So tell us about your drug using at its worst.
So at the worst would be when I was living in a place called Inverell, and I was like I said, I moved in with a drug dealer. We were in a one-bedroom housing commission flat. I had a mattress on the lounge floor. That was where I slept when I slept, and yeah, it was a 24-hour shop, mate. Like it was. She'd go to bed, she'd deal drugs all day, and then when she'd go to bed, she'd give me some to hold on to. And people would knock on that door all
Yeah,
night, man. People would knock on the door
really?
to come. Yeah, it
Wow.
was. That was why she kept. I had a car and a license.
Mm,
Yeah. Um, it was every day I'd work. So I'd probably sleep every second or third night. Like I don't know how this
mm,
this woman I was staying with was incredible. She'd use every day and still eat and sleep, and like she was so almost immune to drugs, man. But it was like we'd wake up every morning, and the first thing we'd eat something, and then we'd use, and then the day'd
yep.
unfold into either picking up or dropping off drugs, pokies,
Mm,
and just all of the other assorted rubbish that goes along with that life, man. But it was every day there for a while until I got COVID, and I was no use to this person anymore, and I thought me and this person were really close, like it was a friendship, it wasn't a relationship. There was no, but I thought that we loved each other as friends, man. And the second I wasn't any
yeah.
use to this person anymore, they stole my car. They left me without a car,
Wow.
like I left me high and dry, man. And
Yeah.
when I tried to get it back, look, I had guns pulled on me, and it was like, yeah, it was probably the worst time in my life, man. Like I was lying to everybody at home. I'd come down and everybody had given me the second chance, and I'd kind of just chat on everybody, man. Like I didn't use at my
Mm,
uncle's house. Like I used all in the next town over. Like to think that everybody knew what was going on. My cousin, who's from that town, her husband is the sergeant of police in that town. So everybody,
yeah.
everybody back home knew everything that I was doing, man.
Knew what was
Um,
going on. And
yeah,
what was your drug of choice?
methamphetamines. Meth's the only drug that's ever got a hold of me, man. Like
Yeah.
I've given everything a crack over the years, man. Never
Mm,
never really liked marijuana, man. It makes me paranoid. I drank when it was, like as a young Australian guy, drinking was you had to drink, man. If you go to parties. But I don't think I ever liked alcohol, man. Like I drank
yes.
because it was like keep up appearances, man. But I hated getting drunk, man. Like I hated feeling out of
Mm,
control. And then in my early 20s, there was a lot of ecstasy involved. I worked in nightclubs, but it was like 2 or 3 days, once a month or something. I'd use ecstasy. Uh,
yeah. Yep.
Tried
So what
mushrooms.
did methamphetamines give you?
Um, so it took all my problems away, man. Like it was something that I could use, and instantly, like meth came along to me at a time in my life when I was everything had been so good. Like I just finished university, I got a great job, I had a new car, I had a partner and 4 kids, and then it all
Mm,
got taken away, man. I fractured my back in 3 places. My partner started shooting up meth and left me for another bloke. Um, yeah, I was suicidal, man. I didn't really want to live, and I'd already been recreationally using, and then I found that if I used enough, that I didn't think about any of that stuff anymore. I wasn't depressed for the
yeah.
period of time that I was high. I honestly believe that time changed my brain chemistry. Like I think, like I said, I'd be able to put down everything before, but I felt like I don't know, man. Like everything had been taken away from me, man. Like I had a great career. I was just starting my career in nursing. I'd been maybe 2 years, which I worked my ring out for. Man, I went to university at 27 with 3 kids and worked full
Yeah.
time and got my degree. And then, like, I've gone through all this really, really like tough time, and everything's just gotten good. And then that all fucking blew up. Like it just all blew up.
Mm,
Um,
yeah. Because your wife had left you. for
Well,
someone
no.
else?
So what happened was our family found out that we'd been using, and there was an ultimatum that if we didn't stop, that the kids would be taken from us. And so I was willing to comply with that because I wasn't, look, I didn't want to lose my children, and I didn't want to, I had a lot of shame in that. And she just,
Mm.
I guess she was too broken, and she didn't want to accept that, and so she just left and just kept using. And I stopped for a period of time, moved in with my
And left
parents.
you with the kids?
Yeah, left me with the kids, man. Yeah, yeah.
So you were by yourself with 4 children?
Well, I moved home to my parents at this stage, man. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And like I was working at this stage, I was working full time as a registered nurse at the Townsville Hospital. Um, so mum and dad would help me get the kids ready for school. My father was he retired? Yeah, but my father was nearing retirement at this stage. My father had done 42 years in the military at this stage. I think he was just finishing up his last couple of years, but he was at home all the time. And
Yes.
so I had I had some really good supports in a way, like in uh, financial and that. But like I love my parents, man, and I told them about this, so they will see this, and they were really good in that. But the emotional support was not there. They were from a generation where I was basically told to suck it up, keep going to work,
Yes.
and everything will be all right, man. Like, all I
Mm.
wanted to do when that stuff had gone down was lie in my bed and hug my kids close to me. All I just wanted to like hide away from the world, and I was not given that option. They were like,
Yes.
"No, you get up, get up." I didn't really do anything other than work. And then when my kids would go to their mother for the weekend, then I'd use. Just become a really bad cycle there for a while. So, and then I'd get kicked out of there
Yeah,
because I was
yeah.
using, and yeah.
And so that's eventually what happened. You got kicked out and your parents took essentially custody of the children?
Well, they never formally took custody, man. Like I was really, um, I don't know how. I've been really fortunate in the fact that, um, for a period of time when I realised that I wasn't able to take care of them. When I moved out of there,
Mm.
I got a there's a family housing place that gave me a place on like a not a housing commission, but like a similar, it's like a community housing sort of thing. They gave me a place, but I just didn't stop using, man. And
Yeah.
yeah, some violence was going on at the house and stuff like that. And yeah, so I asked mum and dad to take the kids at that stage. So they took the kids for a period
Yes.
of time, man. And yeah, that was, but like there was never any custody arrangements or anything like that.
Mm. So you
Yeah.
acknowledge that the children weren't
Uh,
safe in your
no,
care?
man. Yeah, like I acknowledge that, man. Like I was making poor decisions. Um, yeah, yeah, and
And you
I
didn't
didn't.
feel like you could provide for them and give them what they needed?
No, no, especially like emotionally and stuff like that, man. Like I was.
Yeah.
If I wasn't high, I was fucking crying and lying in bed, or um,
Yeah.
yeah. Like at this stage, I'd stopped
I'm so
working, so
yeah. I'm so sorry, man, for you in that situation. It sounds really tough.
yeah, yeah. Look, there's been a lot of really tough times in the last 10 years. Like it's like a lot of things went down, but like I can look back and like I used to blame everybody else, man, and I can see that it was my decisions. I don't know, man. It's like every time everything I think would get as bad as I thought they could, I'd double down and get them worse. Like yeah, I ended up fucking getting sent to jail for 4 months for stealing my parents' car. She was
Right.
like previous to my addiction, I'd been working as an RN in a juvenile detention centre, so I was sort of on the other side of the bars. Yeah, jail was an eye opener, man. It was
So you
I'd like
you stole talk us through stealing your parents' car.
so at one period of time, mum and dad had gone away for a year. They were travelling, and I
Yeah.
was allowed to stay at their house. My kid's mum wasn't allowed there. While they were away, they had several vehicles that still at the property, which I was not allowed to use, and I knew I wasn't allowed to use. And while they were away, I did use my mum's brand new Mercedes. I only drove it twice, but it was without permission. And then about a month before they came home, I got home invaded at that house. Man, I had people break down the front door, and I got smashed up with a bat and stuff, and
Ugh.
yeah, and that
Because of your lifestyle,
yeah. Look, it was yes, yeah.
chasing money and that sort of stuff.
Well, no, they were trying to rob me for something. Yeah. I didn't owe
Yeah.
anybody money. Wasn't like that, but I didn't think anybody knew where I was either. And then
Yes.
somebody that I knew obviously give it up, and yeah, they just thought they were going to rob me. They didn't get nothing in the end, but that was on the news. So that was on the news about that. So
Ugh.
my mum's reply to that was, well, that's what you get if you hang out with people like that. Which I didn't.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, so I just did not give a fuck anymore after that for a period of time. I left their house in a disarray, man. It's one of the things that I'm still trying to work through with my father. Like I trashed their house before I left, man. Like
Yeah.
and I just think it was because I expected some, not a heap of sympathy, but like at least, like I don't think they even asked if I was okay, man. Like they were just
Mm.
like, the house better not be damaged when we get home. So
Yeah. Are
um,
they pretty old school,
very much
hard
old school.
down the
Yeah.
line people?
Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my like
Mm.
Dad was a warrant officer in the army, so everything was structured. I feel myself very, very fortunate in a way, man. My childhood was, I never had anything bad happen to me, man. Always had food. I was always able to play sports. There was never any violence in the house. There was never anything like that. But there wasn't a lot of, like, my dad wasn't a real loving man. He wouldn't tell you that he loves you and stuff like that. Like he, from a different
Yeah.
generation. I guess, and
Yeah.
we were really different people, man. Like my dad is a man's man. Like he can drive full drives and fixes things and loves full
Yeah.
driving and stuff. And that's just not me, man. Like like I was a male nurse. Like I was very different, man. We were very, very different
Yeah.
people. And
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I think for a long time I tried all these things to get their approval, and I felt like I never got it, man. Like no matter what
Yes.
I do, even when things were good, man, like it was never good enough. And
Mm.
that has continued to this day, man. Like it's like, well, yeah, you clean, but are you doing it? Like it was, yeah. So
You
it's
know, even for normies, I've been in a few situations like men's circles and this sort of stuff before outside of the rooms. And the question comes up of like, what's your greatest challenge at the moment? And so many men say, I don't feel enough,
yeah, yeah,
and I think that's one of the greatest challenges that us as blokes face. We're trying to be, the king of the castle. We're trying to be the provider to our families. We're trying to
yeah,
be a great dad and a present dad. We're trying to cook, clean, and
yeah. It's
champion domestic equality and all those things. And
yeah, and if you don't
you
do that,
often feel like you're doing none of them well.
yeah, yeah. Like my parents never approved of my relationship with the mother of my kids and that. Like when I
Yeah.
got with her, she was pregnant and she had a 2-year-old. Like we got together, and like, man, it was love, man. I didn't see the fact that she had kids. Like, and we had 12 years together before everything went to shit. I don't regret any of it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was just another thing. That was never good enough for them. Like, um, yeah, no matter what job I had, I never made enough money or I never made the right decisions or stuff like that. So
Mm. Talk to us
Yeah.
about when you got incarcerated for stealing your parents' car.
Um, so I probably like I said, I didn't realise that I'd been charged. So after Mum and Dad got home on that trip, I just disappeared and I hid from them because I didn't want to face the music. And I didn't realise that they'd called the police and reported everything. And so when I eventually got pulled over for something else, I got taken in for questioning and was charged. And
Right.
I wouldn't have got incarcerated, but I missed court twice. I missed court the first time purely because
Yep.
I was just using too much and I didn't know what day of the week it was. And then
Yeah, you couldn't
so
get that.
I got locked up. I spent a night in the watch house for that, and then I got bail. And then I missed court again when I was in hospital with a chest infection, and I didn't realise I hadn't been in trouble with the police, man. I didn't know what the protocol with courts was. I rang the court and said I'm in hospital, I'm sick, and I thought that was all I needed to do, and then make another date. No,
Yeah.
that's not the case whatsoever. You got to go to the court with a medical certificate and present it to a judge, and if it's accepted, you'll get
Ugh.
bail again. If not, so two failure to appears, and yeah, and that was it. Unlawful use of a motor vehicle charge was enough to. I stayed in jail. It was on remand, so it was. Once I was sentenced, I got let out, man. But it was 4 months before I got before a judge, and then I got before.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got before a judge. And like basically, when I got sentenced, he's like, Mr. Clarke, I can't see why you were remanded. You weren't looking um, at a custodial sentence for the charges. You shouldn't have been remanded, but you were.
Yep.
Yeah, but
What was it like? Do you remember your first night in jail? I assume
yeah, I was fucking terrified,
pretty
mate. Like
scary.
honestly, so the
Yep.
jail I went to Sturt Creek, which is a jail up in Townsville, which is probably 80% Indigenous, man. So going into jail as
Yep.
a what was I 34 year old Caucasian overweight white guy, man, I was fucking terrified, man. Like I'd seen all
Yeah.
this stuff about jails and like people getting raped and bashed and yeah, I was fucking terrified, man. Like I was really, really frightened, and that just wasn't the case, man. Like when I got into jail, I sort of if you mind your own business and you don't fucking poke your nose into anyone else's shit, you're pretty right, man.
Mm.
Honestly, man, I got to jail and every day after I've been there for 3 weeks, every day after that, I was asking them for work, like because there's jobs in jail, and because fuck, man, it's so boring, man. Like
Yeah.
it's 20-hour lockdowns, man. Like you either get out from 8 in the morning till lunchtime, or 2 in the afternoon till 6. For 4 hours
Yep.
a day, you get out of your cell, and the other 20 hours you're locked up. When I was locked up with somebody else, man, 20 hours in a
Mm.
room with another bloke with nothing but free
Oh,
to air television on like a little 10-inch television. Um,
yes.
Having to use the toilet right next to where your bed is fucking terrible. So,
Yeah,
but I mean,
I can
and
imagine.
drug use is just rampant in jail, man. Like it's just um, everybody's using drugs, man. Like it was
Really?
really, really eye opening. Yeah, man. Like we would go down to rec, and I'd watch these guys sit in like a circle, and then one after another use the same syringe. Like
Right. Yeah.
shooting up Subutex, they call it buprenorphine, man. It's a opiate drug, so
Yep.
which people are prescribed in there, and they divert it, so and then they shoot it up in jail.
Right.
So yeah,
Oh man. And did you use when you were inside?
fuck no, man, no way, no way.
Yeah.
No, did not look appealing, mate. Did not look appealing.
No.
One, I wasn't a downer person. Two, even if I could have
Yes.
got meth in jail, I could not think of anything worse than be high on that drug with only blokes around and nothing to do. Like
And a
fuck,
cell.
yeah, man. Like you can
Yeah.
only clean yourself so much. But yeah, people did, man. People do use all sorts of drugs in jail, man. But predominantly downers, man. Like anything that'll knock you out is at a premium in jail because people want to sleep their sentence away. So But yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
So tell me about. We've obviously spoken there about some of your rock bottoms and some of your real downs there.
yep,
Talk to us about this recovery. So you came to Melbourne.
yep. So,
What did you do differently this time?
um, well, for one, I think it was the level of my dedication. So when I got down here, so when I got down, so how I ended up coming down here, my brother runs his own business, and he was losing his license, and he drives all over
Yeah.
Australia for his work. So he needed me. So I think that was one contributing factor. I was needed because I'd kept a license even in all this. So somehow,
Yeah.
and so he needed me, and he needed me to be straight. So I sort of stuff had gotten really bad in Townsville. I was living with someone, and I was just getting involved in shit again. That was just getting out of control, and I recognised it.
Yeah.
Look, I had my
Good man.
son. My son who's just turned 17. 2024. I mean, I picked him up to come around my house, and he was just bawling, man, that he didn't want to see me die, man, that he was worried that I was going to die from using. And I thought that they didn't even know that I was using, like I thought that I was keeping it under wraps. And like that sort of really changed something in me, like I thought that I wasn't hurting anybody else for a long time. And then quite clearly
Yes.
I was. So when I come down here, I come down and I used as much as I could till I come down. Like I went on this massive bender from a Boxing Day till the 3rd of January. I used a lot of drugs, and then I jumped on the plane
Mm.
and I flew down here, and I'd fucking lost my wallet. I'd lost my phone. I'd lost my fucking shoes. Like I've got this pair of white Nike shoes that I got from my drug dealer to get on the plane that I've kept to this day. Man,
Wow.
they're these ripped up old pair of like Jordans that are the two sizes
Yeah.
too big, man, and they're my recovery shoes, mate. They remind me where I come from,
Ugh.
man. And when I got down
So you
here,
literally had to steal a pair of shoes off your drug dealer to get
I
down
asked
to
if I
get on
could
the
have
plane and
them,
get here.
but I spent a lot of money there. I had to go to mum and dad's and
Yeah.
get a copy of my birth certificate to get on the plane because I had no ID. And like when I got down here, I was really honest with my brother. I said, you might think you know what drug addiction's like. This is my truth, man. Like, don't give me money. So when I got down here, he came into selling
Wow.
with me. My pay goes into his bank account. He
Yeah.
gave me a phone, and we installed that Life 360 app on it, so he could see where I am at any time.
Yeah.
Um, like he gave me work. I was working for him, so I had something to do at least a couple of days a week. And he gave me
Mm.
a vehicle to use. So I was doing. I mean, I did farm. I did more than 90 and 90. I think when I got here, I got down here and I threw myself wholehearted
Meetings.
into meetings. Yeah.
Yep.
So I handed over
Yeah.
my finances. Man, I was really honest with him about the way that I could get when I'd use. That I was a liar and I was a cheat, and like just um
Wow.
really, yeah. Well, I had to, man. Like I had to protect myself from myself. Like I think that
Mm.
that handing over of the finances was the smartest thing I ever did, man. Like because there
Yeah.
was a few times in the first couple of months that some stuff had gone wrong, and I'm thousands of kilometers away from being able to do anything about it, and I
Mm.
feel like shit. And my first thought still at that stage was that using would fix it, but I couldn't get access to
Yes.
money even if I wanted to. Like
Yeah.
I can access money whenever I need it. Like I just have to ring him, and then he'll
Mm.
transfer it to a card that's got no money on it, or he'll give me his card.
Yeah.
Like if I need a new pair of shoes and I've got the money for it, I just go and buy it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I've kept myself away from cash. I've kept myself away
Yes.
from having enough money to buy drugs. Like I don't know anybody that sells
Yeah.
drugs down here, but I know that I could
Hmm.
find them if I wanted to. So, um,
Yeah.
like
We
it's still to this day,
got
my,
an
my take,
internal compass, don't we?
yeah, man, it's bad. Yeah, I've done it before. I've done it many times before, man. I've been
Yeah.
in a town where I know no one, and within 15 minutes, I'd just go to a poker room and I'd find somebody that's selling drugs, man. Like I know
Yes.
where people who use hang out. So, I did
Mm.
that, and I did a lot of meetings. Like, and I really I don't know, man. Like I really immersed myself in NA, man. Like that I'd found, I think what I'd been looking for in Narcotics Anonymous in previous attempts, but never found, man. I'd found a fellowship with people that got around, man. Like I still remember my
Mm.
first meeting at the packing meeting here, and that little room
Yeah.
was just packed with people, man. And it was like so intimidating in a way, and like
Yes.
I'm trying to escape after the meeting. I think I avoided sharing that first meeting, which was like I was fucking cooked when I got here. Like I was,
Yeah.
um, like one of my friends to this day said I was fucking vibrating on the fucking chair. I was that fucking, So and people accosted me, giving me their phone numbers, and like will you be here
Yeah.
next week? And it was really the next week was a first half, and I went to that, and I met my friend, my best mate Zoe, and like all this stuff just went right, man. Like it was like
Yes.
like I was incredibly lonely when I got here, man. Like I got rid of. Oh, the other thing I did was I got rid of all social media. I still don't have social media,
Yeah.
and like like
Mm.
these things I did, I strongly recommend to people, man. Like I still don't have
Yes.
social media, and it's so refreshing. I don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
That's not. I don't. If I don't have your phone number, I don't. I can't. I
Yep.
can't. I can't contact you, and you can't contact me if you don't have my phone number. So I don't get messages from
Mm.
people that I might have owed money to 20 years ago. I don't. I've actually heard twice in the last
Yes.
year that there were rumors in my hometown that I was dead, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. They can think I'm dead. But anybody who knows that I
Yeah.
want to know that I'm alive knows I'm alive.
It's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, man. Like it's been that, and not having not having access to cash, like at a
Yep.
drop of a hat, has been pivotal, man. Like in that first probably 4 or 5 months, man. Like I can remember just those fucking feelings just come back so strong, man. Like
Mm.
I had a newcomer in my car last night. I took him out to a meeting, and he was
Yeah.
7 days off drugs, and I was like, he was telling me about nightmares that he's having. I'm like, I'm really sorry, bro, but I'm going to tell you that they're going to keep coming, man. Like it's you will do a lot of
Yes.
crying in the next few months, or you'll do, but you'll also laugh, man. Like these,
Mm.
yeah, these really strong. And I didn't think that I was ever blocking my feelings out before. I didn't realize that that was something that went on. It was just
Yeah.
I just felt happy when I'd use and sad when I wasn't. So
What a gift that you're able to give back now, a year
yeah,
into your recovery, and you've got a newcomer there in your car and you're telling them straight of how it is.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
always easy. Um, the book Boy Swallows Universe, which has been
yeah,
turned into a
yeah,
Netflix show.
yeah,
It's a Trent Doughton book. There's a part in that where one of the young boys says, "It gets good,"
mm,
and I think
yeah,
that's a really beautiful thing to say in the rooms to these guys that
yeah.
are newcomers. It gets good, and it just gets better.
Yeah, and that's what I said to this guy. I said, look, like I come down here with nothing, and now I'm driving a 2023 Subaru Forester, man. Like I've
Yeah.
like I'm paying off a car, I'm paying my rent, I'm not lying, man. I'm living as much as I can by spiritual principles, man. And that's the other thing, man. Like I find these days, if I get angry or anything like that, I feel really sick, man. Like it's like um,
Mm.
I don't know, man. Like I just life's so different now, so different. Like
Yeah.
it's not without problems. Like I've still one of my children is not talking to me. My oldest daughter's not talking to me, which is uh, which is kind of pretty devastating. Like she just had a kid. I just remember grandfather. Um,
Yep.
yeah, a couple of
Yeah.
months ago, and I went back home for 4 days in January, hoping to meet my granddaughter, and yeah, it was shut down, which is really
Yep.
fucking hard, man. So,
I can imagine.
but
But you're able to deal with it life on life's terms.
yes, yeah. Look, and
Yeah.
no part of me wanted to use when I was, like I attempted to speak to her and that, and I still text her every couple of days. I mean, I haven't had a reply for 7 months now, so but
Yep.
I reach out to all of my kids every day except for her because she doesn't reply. But You know, like
Yeah.
I'm really blessed, man. I've got 4 beautiful children, and one doesn't want to talk to me right now. So, and for whatever reason, man, whatever reason that is, I'm
Yeah.
not sure entirely what it is.
Sometimes it's none of our business as well, is it? Like,
Yeah,
if we keep showing up, um, we as addicts need to put boundaries in our life to
yeah,
make sure that we're able to stay clean and sober.
yeah,
But also, we must adhere and respect the boundaries that are put in front of us as well. And,
yeah.
God's will that
That's right.
time you
Yeah,
know um it will maybe change that relationship, and maybe a door will become ajar at some point, Warren.
I definitely think so, man. Look, it's not like there's been any like I spoke with her like April last year. She come down here with her partner, and
Yeah.
and we had lunch and we left on really good terms. But some stuff. Basically, I stopped giving out guilt money to my children when I got into recovery as well. You know, like in active addiction, if I had money and they asked for it, I'd give it to them because I felt guilty all the time. And I can't
Yeah.
afford it anymore. You know, I don't have. You know, like I pay my bills, so I don't have any spare money. So, um,
Yeah. Oh, but you
yeah,
can't buy, like, you can't buy amends, is what someone said to me
no, no, no,
once.
that's definitely right. And like if you try, it will feel dirty. Like I tried for
Yes.
ages to I would feel guilty about using, so I'd give my kids money or I'd buy them something,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it doesn't feel right, man. You know, like it doesn't. Yeah, so I definitely
Yeah, I
think
mean, sometimes
things will change, man. She's
you go.
just become a parent herself, man. You know, like she's
Yeah.
got a beautiful little daughter, you know, and at least like you can see pictures,
Yeah.
you know. And I think when a lot of this stuff goes on with my daughter, it'll happen, and I'll get on the phone and I'll ring my mum and I'll say, "I'm so sorry, mum. I didn't talk to my mum for 2 years over all of this shit."
Yes.
And I'm like, "I know what it's like
Yeah.
now, mum. I know what it's like. You know, I know
Mm.
how gut wrenching it is to have your children not talk to you. You know, so."
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mum. I'm sorry I
And
did that
isn't
to
that a
you.
way of making amends to them as well,
Yeah, yeah. You know, look, Mum's really proud of how much work I've done. You know, look, I don't think she doesn't have a lot of understanding of how it all works, man. But she's been pretty. She's come around. You know, like she's come around.
Mm.
She didn't want me to come
They
down here.
must notice the new version of Warren.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like I said, I flew back to Townsville in January. I went up 4 days to hopefully meet my granddaughter and see my other kids. And I went back to my old home group, and yeah, and so I had a couple of friends that are in recovery around for a barbecue dinner. Like I said, my dad's not a I love you sort of man, and I sort of had these people over, and I'd organised meat, and you know we're having a barbecue, and my dad's like, "Now you go sit with your friends. I'll cook this for you." And like to me, that was the really big thing, man. That was like
Yeah.
that was his way of saying I love you, I guess, or I could see that things have
Yes.
changed, you know, like because he wouldn't have done that before. Like I wasn't allowed in their house for long periods of time, you know. So
Yeah.
it was like you're welcome in the house, you know. Like it was really,
That's so good.
yeah, it was. It was. I got really emotional, you know. Like it was really beautiful, you know. Like it's I'll never get the loving, hugging, you know. That
Yeah.
it's just not who he is, you know. Like it's just not,
Yes.
you know. So I have to accept him as
What
he
about
is.
your relationship with your brother?
So my brother lives down here. We have a fantastic relationship now. And the funny thing is, it's not always been this way. Man. Growing up,
Mm.
so he's older than me by 14 months. Growing up was we used to fight heaps, man. And then in our early 20s, we didn't particularly get along that well. And then when I started having kids and was doing all this stuff, I didn't like him very much. And then when I started using drugs, he didn't like me very much. And yet
Yes.
in this I've been here since, like I said, January last year, and we've not had one cross word at each other, man. Not one. We come close to having an argument
So good.
once, yeah, it's amazing, really. Yeah, like he came to my 1 year celebration, and yeah, it was really. I really have been so honoured for them to invite me into their home. My son comes and stays
Mm.
here on the weekend. My son, who lives down here, obviously, and they accept him.
Yep.
And he's 17, and he's very annoying. So, like it's well, like you can't help it. My brother gets frustrated at him, and I'm like, remember, he's 17. He doesn't have all of his brain's not all working.
The front lobe's still
That's
growing.
right. That's right. And that kid my oldest boy is me all over, man. Like I look
Yeah.
at him, and when he misbehaves, and like he'll lie to me, it's sort of we had a big talk when I got down here. I said to him, I said, look, we can have a different relationship now. I said, I'm not going to lie to you anymore, and all I expect from
Yes.
you in return is the same. And of course,
Yeah.
he still does, man. Like he'll play up, and he'll double down. And we went out one day and he smoked marijuana in my bedroom, man. And they tried to say that he didn't, and I'm like, mate,
Yes.
it reeks, man. I said
Yeah.
he tried to cover it up with Yoda and made it carry further, and like he lied and he lied and he lied, and I'm like trying not to get angry at him, because I'm looking at him and I'm thinking this must be exactly what people looked at me like, man. Because
Yes.
I would lie in the face of all of the evidence to the contrary. You can have a photo of
Mm.
me doing something, and I'd be like, "That's not me. That's doctored. That's photoshopped." And this is I'm
Yes.
seeing my son do the same things. Like he's got so many of my good qualities, but he's got a lot of my bad qualities as well, man. He's a beautiful he's got a beautiful heart and he's a loving person, but he's
Yeah.
obviously he's seen me lie a lot, so I guess that's what he thinks.
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes it's easy to sort of throw stones in glass houses. Like
Yeah,
I sometimes look at my children and or anyone around me really and I'm far from working it all out, but sometimes I got to remind myself that I didn't really get emotional intelligence until I was 40.
yeah.
It took me a long time.
And the other thing that I did is I've stayed away from women this whole year, mate. Like my best mate is
Yeah.
a girl, but she's my best mate and she's a girl. Those two things are,
Yep.
like I've stayed away from relationships like they're as
Yes.
bad for me as drugs are, mate. Like they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm.
it's
Yeah, that it's another form of dopamine spike, and that's another one of the things that they tell us to do is to
yeah,
stay away from sexual relationships for the first year of recovery.
yeah, and like even 13 months in, like I don't think I could sustain a healthy relationship now.
Yeah.
I'd either fall madly in love with someone who's no good for me, or I'd treat
Yes.
them poorly, and I'd just rather. I don't have time for. I don't have the energy for it, man. Like
Yeah. Well,
I got
there's
lots of
plenty
other
more
stuff.
time in the future to sort of go down that path.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still a good-looking man.
So
I'm
so
doing all
what
right.
does your so what does your recovery look like now? Like, what are your practices that you
I wake up
partake in?
I wake up every morning. Sometimes early, sometimes a little bit later. I get up, I make myself a coffee, and then I've got there's a little deck out the back, and I sit out there with my coffee, and I'll read. I put on this song called "All or None" by Monksy. It's recovery based thing, All or None,
Yep.
and it's about. And I read the JFT, and then after I read the
Nice one.
JFT, I text all of the people that are in my phone book, because all I've got is people from the rooms, and I send out a good
Yeah.
morning text message. So I send out 50
So good.
messages. Yeah, and like at first, maybe 5 people would reply, and now like I'll during the course of the day, I'll get uh, a barrage of messages from time to time. Hey, yeah, I've had a good day, or I've not had a good day, or will you be at this thing? And that's just my connection,
Oh,
man.
good.
Look, and I do that
Yeah.
every morning, man. I think in a year, there's probably been 3 days where I've missed that, and it's because I've been really
Yep.
sick. So I do that every day
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
fail. I try to
It's like
pray
you're
every.
creating your own social media there, mate.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
reaching out to others and hearing back in real time.
yeah, and they're people that I actually know. Look,
Yes.
I in the first year I was very judicious about who I would give my phone number to. Um,
Mm.
and like I've sort of in the last month I've sort of opened up a little bit. I've given a few people that are newcomers or just coming out of rehab my number, and
Yeah.
they've got joined into that morning text message, like, and I've had people ask, like 'cause I've had people in shares give me shout outs, like that's really helped me through, and then someone's like, oh, can you send me a message in the morning? I'm like, all right, yeah, give us your number,
Yeah.
but
That's so good. Well done.
yeah, it's a really good practice I've found, man. And
Yeah.
then after lunch, I'll read the spat after 12, so I
Yeah.
break it up. So I got, because for periods of time I haven't been working. Sometimes I do. I sort of got to have something to do in both halves of the day. I do my home
Yes.
group every week, which is Pakenham home group here. And I generally it's sort of 3 to 5 meetings a week. If I can't get to a lot of in person meetings, I'll do some online ones, which I wasn't a fan of online meetings, and Zoe pushed them, and she's like, they're really good at. And now I've got some online meetings that I really love, man. That I do without fail every week. And
Yeah.
in this day and age when petrol's so expensive, it is good to be able to. Like I'm in my bedroom right now, I can do an online meeting from here. Like it's great.
Yes.
It's not the same. You
Yeah.
don't get that same in person connection, but it is good. If you've got something on your chest or you've got something you need to let go, it's really good, man. Like yeah, it's really, it's a blessing, man. So
And listening to the message as well. Like I'll find that I could be at work doing a certain task and I
yep,
can get into these meetings, put my phone up, and I'm listening to people talking about their message of recovery
yeah,
and hope.
yeah, and listening more has been something I've really been trying to work on in the last
Yes.
probably 2 months, man. Because I'll get into a meeting and I'll either be anxious about sharing, I'll be busting to get something out, and after everyone shares, I'll be like, pick me next
Mm.
or don't pick me next. And I've been working on just sitting there and just accepting that things will go the way that they go. And I'm like
Yes.
if I get to the end of the meeting and I haven't been asked to share, then that's fine too. Like it's not all about me. You know, um,
Yeah. Yep.
so it's
100%.
yeah, but like that was really hard at first, man. All I wanted to do was just tell you how terrible my life was or how whatever I was doing. Like I just had to blurt things out, and like it's just taken a little while to rein that back in and just sit there and
Yeah.
listen sometimes, man. So
That's for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, well, it's something I'm working on, It's yeah. Like I have a faith
Yes.
now that as long as I keep doing my practices, keep doing my readings in the morning, keep reaching out, keep doing meetings, keep doing my step work, which sometimes I lack on, but like then I'll stay clean, Like it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if my daughter never talks to me again. It doesn't matter if I lose somebody. That I'll stay clean because I've got God on my side and I'm doing the right thing, So that's been a really big
Mate,
part.
I think that that's a beautiful way to wind up today's conversation. And with you, with God on your side and open ears,
Yes,
recovery will be strong.
yes, thank you. So
Good on you, Warren.
thanks for
Thanks
having
so
us
much
on,
for your
mate.
time today, mate.
No
Thanks
worries.
for joining me.
All right, mate. Sure.
Thanks for joining us today on Slaying Sober. If you're sober curious, in addiction, or know someone who could benefit from listening, please share this episode with them. Jump over to Instagram and say g'day at Slaying Sober Pod and follow us on Spotify to hear the latest episodes come out. Until then, keep slaying sober.